Hi everyone, and Happy New Year. Today we're going to talk about finding a guiding word for your year. This has been done over and over and over again. We're going to do something different with it today. These are my words from past years that I documented. I think I have others that I couldn't find, but the first one was 2013, and I chose love thyself. I loved this saying, and I saw this as a tattoo on somebody. Then in 2014, I made this. It was magic. I only had paint and pens, and I didn't even put it in a journal. I just did it on a piece of paper, as you can see. In 2016, I took the word shine. This year, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to take what I thought I was going to use for my words. Sorry for the camera going all over the place. I was going to take live as my word, but I've come up with with grace. So grace is going to be my word of the year. And I'm going to keep these other two words as also words, abundance and live. So I have to tell you that probably the best year I ever had was the year I chose this word, magic. My life became magical in ways I couldn't even understand this year. It was crazy how good things got and what happened for me. I was really able to develop a business plan that I had in place and wanted, ideas of things I wanted to do. I taught a class that year that became Goddess Year, and I had a lot of people that joined my class that year. It was just a magical year. It held up to its name. So ever since then, I've had this thought that by choosing these guiding words, we live up to them. Another one that I did was miracles. And that was in 2022 after I had started the YouTube channel. And a friend gave me this mug. I just loved this idea. This particular year of miracles I started another group, and that became very successful for me. So these words tend to come true. That's all I can say. So this is the drawing paper that I'm going to use to make my journal with. I'm going to journal my word on a piece of paper and make that into a journal. I'm going to get started in a really non-conventional way. I'm going to fold this. I use this drawing paper because it's quite heavy, and by the time I get finished putting all the things I put on it, it gets even heavier. But honestly, it doesn't matter what you want to use. It's kind of late for a cover, and lots of times when I do use it, I put something cardboard over it as a cover. Now, when you finish your pad of paper, it has this nice chipboard behind the pad, and I like to use that for my covers. Today I want to create this art. So I think for this particular journal, I'm going to make it this size. So I'm going to make the art across this way because I want it to go across 2 pages. I'm going to write the word grace across here now. There's no promises here because I am not in love with my handwriting. I want the big words of grace. I need a lot of grace this year. I mean a lot. I'm just using my Stabilo awl to kind of trace this out. And I went for more for the letters of interest. This is a little squishy, so I might move it over this way. This is a Stabilo all pencil. It is water activated. My year last year was very difficult, and it was very difficult for a lot of reasons. It was a going back, a reliving sometimes that maybe you're never really prepared to relive. I'm just going over this pencil, this Stabilo all with some water to kind of get this to run a little bit. The reason why I chose this word, my dad passed away last year, and my dad was estranged from our family. I hadn't known him for probably 40 plus years, but the loss brings up things for you no matter what. And it was in that realizing of my family events, my family life. I always knew that I struggled a little bit, even when I was young, and that I didn't understand a lot of it. I was away from home a lot. I was sick. I had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, so I was in a hospital a lot. And I always kind of looked at that as a gift because I wasn't in my home. And I was afraid of my father when I was younger. And I do believe that's really what I was dealing with, was some unresolved old fear. And for the first time this year, I started having panic attacks. This is what's started me wanting the grace for the year, so that I could forgive, so that I could let go. I think I'm going to start by gluing down some scraps, and whether this word gets lost in that isn't really important. I think I have just the outline of the word, and that's good for now, and I might bring it back in after I start working. So I'm just going to start working, and I'm going to keep talking. I'm just going to pull out some things that I like, piece that I'm making. I found this heart. I think I'm going to try to use this. Ooh, there's painting on the other side. So this might be the beginnings of something for me. So I'm just ripping it apart and I'm going to glue it down. I'm just tearing off those hard edges. Again, the word may disappear in the beginning, but then come back later. And I just wanted to get the essence of the word down. So my idea is to maybe collage this. The word grace for me is about forgiving myself. I think I have a lot of hurt and anger. I think forgiveness is very, very tricky. Like, it's hard to do. Not being able to forgive is okay. So now this year, I really want to move on. So my sister and I basically were the people left in our family. Yes, our mom's alive, but she's not part of that other family, that my dad's family. So my entire family on that side is kind of gone. And so there's nobody else. There's she and I. So we talked about how we're going to move forward, how we should move forward, what we want to think about, what we want to create for our families, and how we are different, and how that's great that we have the opportunity to be different and to not be violent and to be loving and embracing. This year for me, now I'm not naive enough to think this is going to happen in a year. But this year for me will be about healing and about giving myself permission to, okay, maybe I feel anxious about these things, but I can get through them. I've been through some very hard things in my life and I've survived. That's what I think my year is going to be about. That's the story of why I needed the word grace. Abundance and live are the other words that I had come up with. Now, live because I have been adamant about the fact, because I do have autoimmune diseases. As you get older, when you have one, many come up. So I have 3 that I've been diagnosed with. And I don't want to end up not living. I don't want to sit around and rot in my old age. Only because I can't think of anything else to say about it. So I chose live because I want to get out of my way, and what are the things that I really want to do? Some of it is this art stuff that I'm doing with all of you. I want to decide what it is that I want to do. I forgot where I was, but let's start with this. So my goals for this year are to live more, whatever that might mean, however that might look. Not sure yet, and that's okay. I don't have to be sure. But also maybe to help more other people. So that's one goal. And then the other word is abundance, is to see the abundance everywhere. So I love to spend a lot of time outside in nature. I have a dog now, and I love to take her for walks. My goal is to be able to recognize the abundance around us and live from that place also. I have some Payne's Gray. This is golden Payne's Gray. This is heavy bodied. I use Payne's Gray instead of black a lot of times because I just like to keep the color not as dark. I'm just trying to get the idea of a letter. I'm going to make this into a journal so I could take and embellish this a little more to make this a little more prominent. I think that this is a good start. So I'm going to add those other pages that I made. So I'm going to make several other pages to make this a journal for the year. And I'll do that maybe in another video for you. But we're going to fit them all together. And this is going to be my word of the year, along with the other words that I had, which were these, abundance and live. I could just stick this right in the journal. This is my word of the year. Okay, guys, thanks for being here, and I will catch you next week.